Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're looking at something that has basically become a structural inevitability for modern corporate resilience. This is a concept that is rapidly rocketing to the absolute top of the agenda for pretty much every CEO and C-level executive out there. We are talking about the complete democratization of IT for non-technical managers, and we're doing it using autonomous AI agents. Look, this isn't just another software upgrade. It's a fundamental shift in how complex corporate work actually gets done, and it's driven by something called Agentic AI context engineering. So, think about this for a second. What actually happens when your top system architect, or maybe your most experienced consultant, just suddenly retires? Or, even worse, they walk across the street and join a competitor. For most companies, that triggers an instant, visceral panic. Because it's not just an empty desk, it's the sudden, unrecoverable loss of critical, contextual corporate DNA. The really crucial point here is that human knowledge within a standard corporate structure is incredibly fragile. When those top-tier experts leave, they take literally decades of unwritten, highly specific knowledge right out the door with them. And the financial and operational costs of that, they are staggering. Critical projects stall out, complex workflows completely break down, and millions of dollars are spent just trying to relearn what the company technically already knew. To fix this, we've got to move away from the traditional IT bottleneck, you know the one, where every single minor system change requires heavy resources and highly technical personnel. It's just too slow. The new vision here is democratized IT. Imagine a reality where a non-technical manager can securely execute a highly complex ERP or CRM workflow just by using plain everyday language. It's about actually empowering the business side to drive technological execution directly. No more waiting around in an IT ticket queue. And that brings us to our core definition, Agentic AI context engineering. Basically, this is the strategic transfer of deep, expert knowledge into indestructible, autonomous AI agents. Now, please, scratch whatever you're thinking about those simple, clunky chatbots. That is not what we're talking about. We are talking about highly sophisticated agents embedded in engineering harnesses. These are agents that genuinely know your company's specific history, its proprietary data, and exactly what your best practices are. The actual engine making all this possible is the QCG Agent First System Architecture. It operates as a closed-loop model. At the very top, you have the human on the loop. These are the leaders who set the overarching goals, approve any highly consequential actions, and basically maintain accountability. Right below them, the AI agents act as the primary interface to the company's complex systems. And crucially, built into this is an observe, learn, improve loop. This recursive self-improvement feeds real business outcomes back into the system, so your company's intelligence actually compounds over time. Now, the dense architecture running these agents breaks down into two main parts. First, you have the agent scaffold. Think of this as the blueprint. It holds all the agent's skills, its prompts, and its configurations. Then you have the agent harness. This is the runtime engine. It uses tools like MCP servers, which you can think of as highly secure bridges, to actually drive that scaffold and execute those corporate tasks safely and efficiently. But I know what you're probably wondering. How do we stop these AI agents from just hallucinating or going totally off script? Well, there's a strict translation layer. When a manager types out a natural language request, the system doesn't just improvise. It grounds that request entirely in the skills layer. This layer strictly enforces codified corporate rulebooks, like ITIL standards and intense zero-trust security protocols. So the agent acts exactly the way the company has already predetermined, is completely safe. Implementing a system this powerful, that requires an absolutely uncompromising foundation of governance. That's why having experts like Max Huber, the president of the Quality Consulting Group, is so critical here. He brings over 30 years of ERP architecture experience handling massive mandates for corporate giants like UBS, ABB, and RWE. He's the guy ensuring that when AI is embedded into enterprise workflows, it has strict, high-stakes structural authority. Then, moving to the infrastructure layer, we have Michael Maluk. He effectively bridges the gap between highly critical enterprise IT and generative AI. Look, when you're building autonomous systems for incredibly fast-moving energy trading desks like Vattenfall, there is absolutely zero tolerance for downtime. None. Michael designs the fail-safe plumbing using frameworks like Kubernetes and GitOps to make sure these AI operations are unbelievably robust and reliable. But infrastructure alone isn't going to cut it. You absolutely need deep domain expertise. Take Ike Azeonika's extreme specialization in energy trading and risk management. He's designed complex workflows for companies like Baywar E and ADNOC using systems like OpenLink and DIR. His knowledge perfectly synergizes with the architecture. Because to teach an agent how to actually operate in a specific industry, you need someone who understands the exact, nuanced intricacies of complex energy trading. 1 million euros. Let that number sink in. That represents the measurable, critical impact of elite algorithm design. This brings us to Edmond Jacopo. He developed statistical and AI tooling for the French energy provider EDF, tools that actually helped prevent multi-day reactor restart freezes. Every single day of downtime he prevented saved France roughly 1 million euros. That is a massive impact. Edmond provides the elite machine learning firepower that these autonomous agents require. Beyond saving millions at EDF, he built a reinforcement learning agent at Senrica. Essentially, that's an AI that learns to optimize things through rapid trial and error. Well, that agent optimized electricity consumption and drove a 20% profit jump. This is the exact level of neural network mastery you need to push corporate AI agents to make highly profitable autonomous decisions. And finally, we have the crucial link that takes all these models out of the lab and puts them into secure 24/7 production, Jadeyepkinavor Madam. As an AI platform and DevSecOps engineer, he builds the enterprise AI gateways. These provide the auditable access to frontier models. He sets up the guardrails, the MCP gateways, the advanced RAG patterns. Simply put, he builds the systems that allow the AI to securely retrieve your company's private data, letting these agents operate across the enterprise while quadrupling triage throughput and maintaining strict compliance. So how do we actually operationalize all of this combined expertise? It breaks down into a remarkably clear 4-step deployment playbook. First, we systematically collect that highly valuable, unwritten corporate knowledge. Second, we feed it into those advanced retrieval systems and LLMs, making sure the AI only ever uses verified internal facts. Third, we completely lock down the architecture using DevSecOps and those strict ITIL standards. And fourth, the ultimate step, we deploy these digital experts directly into your workflow, where they use recursive self-improvement to just constantly get better. And that brings us to the ultimate business outcome, zero brain drain. By immortalizing your corporate DNA through context engineering, you completely eliminate the single point of failure. If your absolute top expert decides to retire tomorrow, well, their problem-solving logic, their nuanced contextual understanding, and all their best practices remain seamlessly integrated right into your workflows. That is the very definition of ultimate strategic resilience. We are standing at the threshold of a completely new era for corporate IT, driven by visionary architecture and truly elite execution. The technology to democratize complex workflows for non-technical managers, it's not the future, it is already here. So I want to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up this explainer today. Knowing that the tools now exist to capture and scale your deepest expert knowledge, is your corporate DNA ready to become immortal? Thanks so much for joining me on this analysis.